Hello, friends of Earth, friends, humans of humanity. It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. And today we're talking about how much you'll spend on tools and food and random stuff more than you will on perspective. This is crazy to me. Partly because I value perspective, but partly because I do this all the time. I was getting ready to file taxes. I know, at the time of this recording, I know. And the thing about it is that as I was going through my expenses for the year, I spent a ton of money in some really random places, like a lot of domain stuff that I don't use. Like I pay for domains that I don't really use. I kind of hold on to them for a rainy day because, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I could really use that domain someday, right? Finance charges on credit cards, bank fees from multiple bank accounts, hosting things I don't even use anymore, tools I bought but didn't. I mean, look, it's crazy, right? Meals, Starbucks, coffee, all this stuff. And that's just in my business expenses. Now go look at my personal expenses. I don't, Amazon, Costco, like all of these places, I'll buy stuff that I didn't need to buy. And I bought it because I felt like it. So that's really interesting. I think that's super common for human beings. Like we do this, like we have these almost unconscious spending patterns, or we don't even know why we spend it, but in the moment we feel inspired or empowered to do it, and so we do. But then when it comes time to really invest in perspective for how to grow your business, you start to get all skeptical about all the things you could buy. You're like, yeah, you go to webinars, but you won't buy the programs. You'll download free PDFs or you'll read blog posts, but you won't actually invest in the person who wrote the blog. You won't invest in coaching or programs with people whose podcasts you listen to. Some of it comes up as, most of the time, it's probably a money conversation. Most of the time, it is a money conversation. I don't want to pay for that. By the way, you'll see this behavior, this mindset with apps on your phone. Isn't this funny? We'll go and we'll look at the app store and we'll be like, no, that app is like $4. That's a $3.99 app. I'm not buying that app. I'm going to find a free app. We do this, right? I saw an app the other day. I just got this gimbal. It's called a gimbal, and I'm still learning how to use it, right? But it's like I can put my iPhone right in there, and it's super fancy. It's fancier than I need, and I don't really know what to do with it. There you go. Another great example of something that I bought on a whim. I'm like, I'm going to up my selfie game. And then I tried it last night in the video and it was really heavy. I was like, and I actually don't know if it did anything better for me or not. So I'm like, well, I don't know. It was $140. $140. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Like I'm going to up my game and I'm going to use this for a long time. So $140, of course. But then I go into the app store and there's an app that actually goes with that. It's not the same brand as that, but it works better than the one from that brand. And it was like $14.99 for the app. $14.99. And I looked at it, I was like, I don't know, $14.99 for an app. I mean, that's pretty steep. After I just bought a $140 gimbal, right? Do you see the weird mind games that we play with ourselves? So you go consume a podcast and somebody invites you to a course, or you read a book and they actually have a program. And then you think, I don't know though. I don't know if I want to pay for that because I could just get advice online for free. I could read somebody else's blog post. But guys, don't you see? Like, you don't get the free stuff isn't the same as the paid stuff. That's the first thing, right? The first lesson here is that the free stuff is not the same as the paid stuff. You get more perspective with the paid stuff. You can't possibly get all the depth that you need to get from the free stuff. And at some point, you need to invest in perspective. Okay, here's the second point though. Let's say you do invest in perspective. I've invested in perspective, and some of the perspective I've invested in has been crappy, frankly. I'm like, no, that was totally not worth the investment. I didn't like that at all. I just spent $1,000 on a course and I didn't like it. So you probably have done the same thing. In the beginning, you spend money on perspective in more affordable ways, like I buy a book or a CD or whatever, right? But as your business grows and you get braver, you start to invest in bigger items. And most of the time, seriously, like most of the time, the perspectives you invest in, you're going to feel like, I don't know if that was worth it. And what can happen when you do that is you start to doubt all perspective. You start to doubt investing in all perspective because you're like, well, if I'm going to lose money 80% of the time I buy perspective, right? Meaning I'm hiring a coach, I'm paying for a program, etc. If 80% of the time it's not what I really wanted and I wanted something different, then what's the point? Like, I don't want to keep wasting money. Guys, I totally get that. Like I said, I've totally done this, right? But it's interesting. This last year, I spent $5,000 on a program. I've never spent $5,000 on a program before. I've spent that in coaching. I've spent that to hire coaches. But for a 3-day event, I've never spent $5,000 on a 3-day event before. And it was the best event I've ever been to as it relates to both inspiration, which is always great for an event. I always love getting inspired at events. But from a practical tools and perspectives, like things I can build my business from, that like $5,000 was awesome, amazing, right? Not just because I was inspired, which is, I think sometimes that's what happens with programs. We're like, oh, I got inspired for a bit, but I have nothing to show for it now. I have no infrastructure. I have no models or anything to use. So that was great for me to just experience that, right? Because I'm like, oh yeah, I really liked that event. So here's a couple. So first of all, here's the principle is you need to invest in perspective. That's the principle. You need to invest in perspective. Like intentionally, like on purpose, like more often. You will spend more on wine and Costco food and whatever else it is that's in your schedule, organic food, whatever it is that you buy in life, you will spend more on that than you will on the perspective that would actually grow your business. You'll spend more on tools and domains and whatever else that you don't need and won't use. Maybe you even spend more on ads, giving a good old gander at some ads. Maybe you just spent, a couple $100 in ads, hoping something would work. When what you needed was perspective about how ads work. Do you see? It's like we speculate with our money all the time. We just throw it out there and like, well, I hope this works. Let's see. You need perspective. You need perspective. So that's the principle, invest in perspective. So a couple things, how do we do this? A couple things. One, find the handful of people who you feel like you get massive value from in their content, right? Like you love their content. That is a great indication that their programs, their coaching will be an extension of that greatness, right? The $5,000 program I went to, I found from a podcast. And I liked the guy's podcast so much that I kept consuming it. I'm like, when the opportunity came to do this course, I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm all in. And it was awesome. So find the people who are teaching things that you like, that resonate with you, and go buy their programs. Go invest in perspective with their programs. Okay? If you like their programs, you can invest in more. If you don't like their programs because it's different than what you thought it would be, then you don't have to invest in more. By the way, that just points to another problem though, right? Which is that if your expectation is that you're batting 1,000 every time you invest in perspective, like I think your expectations are off. If you think every time you pay for a program or you pay for a coach that you're going to get like your socks are going to get knocked off, right? You're like, this was amazing. Every single time you invest in perspective, I think your expectations are off. You're setting yourself up for failure. You invest to find the ones that you love, and then when you find the ones you love, you keep coming back for more. You keep coming back for more. You stay close to the mothership so that you can keep feeding on and drafting on the perspective. If they are out in front of you, they have learned more than you, they're further down the road from you, and you love learning from them, then you keep finding ways to invest in them. and their programs. So many of us just go this one and done. We're like, I'll hire you for a bit and now I'm done. And that's okay if you got your value and you're not getting value anymore. But if you still are inspired by that person, if you are still intrigued by what else they have to teach you, then you keep investing. You keep going. It's like in this disposable economy, this like, we just use stuff up and spit it out and we're done. Like we've forgotten that behind programs are people. And when you find other people that you respect and admire, then find ways to keep investing in that relationship. It's already served you well. Let it keep serving you well. So the first thing is find the first, like, if we're going to call this a production strategy, the first way to actually put this into practice is to find people you want to invest in and invest in them, right? Invest in their programs and their coaching. Then the other litmus test here is to, you're going to keep looking for what feels like it's in alignment. You keep testing or checking in with, does this feel like it's in alignment with me? And if it is, you keep investing, right? Now, here's the deal. Sometimes you invest in things and you feel resistant. You feel confronted because it's asking you to do more than what you've done before. And in that resistance, even though the person feels good to you, is in alignment with you, and you can be inspired at times, you're resisting the work that you're being asked to do. And then that sometimes can undermine you. It can sabotage you, right? It can sabotage your growth because then you're like, I don't want to invest in this anymore because I don't like how I'm being pushed to grow. You want to check that out, right? You want to look at that. So the second thing is what I'm investing in, not just the person, but it's what I'm investing in. Does it feel in alignment with who I am and the direction I'm headed? And if you can answer yes to both of those things, that yes, the person I'm investing in is awesome and I love who they are, and the stuff I'm getting in perspective, the perspective I'm getting feels in alignment with who I am, then that is what we're looking for. If you have that, then you keep investing, right? And if you start to get tight financially, then it's okay to look at the other areas of your life and be like, well, do I need to keep spending $100 a month in domain renewals? Or do I need to keep buying $140 gimbals, right, randomly? Or should I reinvest that money into perspective? And I'm going to tell you that some of the best money I've ever spent has been in perspective, because that's the thing that helps me not only own my message and own my path, but gets me out ahead where I need to be. No gimbal has done that for me. No domain name has done that for me. No logo has done that for me. So look at no organic food I've bought has done that for me. No protein powder has done that for me. No app I've bought has done that for me. Do you see what I'm saying? The things that help me leapfrog in life, that take quantum leaps in life, are the perspectives that I've invested in and the people that delivered those perspectives. So there you have it, gang. If you would like to learn more about my perspectives that I have for you, because you like this show or you like the way that I think about marketing, I have a free course for you. Free course. It's 90 minutes. These episodes are roughly 10 to 15 minutes. This course, it's free and it's 90 minutes. You get 90 minutes of more in-depth training from me if you go to groundswellmethod.com. The course is called Marketing for the Rest of Us, the course, and it is a precursor or an appetizer to a 6-week intensive program called the Groundswell Method Intensive, where we actually dive deep into how to find, capture, produce, and share your message in such a way that it resonates with your people and you feel on fire when you share it. Okay, all of that in that 6-week intensive opens up the entire game of advertising on the other side of that 6-week program. Right? Once you dial in your message and you know how to produce that content, now we can start to get into some conversations about advertising where it's cause and effect. How do I intentionally run an ad and then produce a result, right? That's how we start to control or create predictable cash flow. But you don't get that if you don't understand your message, okay? So all of that starts at the free course called Marketing for the Rest of Us, the course, and you can get that at groundswellmethod.com. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us, and until tomorrow, have a great night.